And I've got you right on my music stand
Hmm.
because here is a keyboard. Oh, there's a spider going
Oh,
along.
Oh
Yeah.
no, Jeff.
haha. So even Jeff Goldblum is occasionally menaced by spiders. Celebrities, they're just like us. I had the distinct pleasure of talking with the multi talented performer. He called in from his tour with the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra ahead of their stop in Dallas in September. And we talked about the show, his musical history and love affair with jazz, and a little bit about acting. Enjoy, Jeff Goldblum. Friends, as you can hear, I am thrilled to be joined by the one and only Jeff Goldblum, who you can see live in the Winspear Opera House with his Mildred Snitzer Orchestra on September 13th. That's a Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Get tickets at attpac.org. Jeff, thank you so much for talking to me.
The gratitude is all on my side, Matt. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
What can we expect from a night with Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra? What's the vibe?
It goes something like this. It's uncharted territory.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they call me Magellan. No, they don't. I'm only making that up. But I sail the seven seas in order to bring the listening, the patrons who show up, and I hope they do. I welcome one and all to a night of music. It's that jazz music that's driving all the kids crazy these days, and we play a nice a selection from the classic American songbook, which many people know, but some of our audience, I'll bet, we have the responsibility and delight of introducing them to a little bit. Songs like, well, on this last album, we'll play some from the last album. We're not going to play this, so I won't spoil any surprise, but Stella by Starlight is sung by Maya Sykes on this last one. And on this last album, Still Blooming. And of course, Scarlett Johansson, Cynthia Erivo, and Ariana Grande sing songs on that. And we might be doing some of those songs.
Nice.
But anyway, many of them are from that the classic collection, and then one or two may be from the Blue Note bouquet, which sophisticates and jazz people may appreciate too. And speaking of which, people who really like jazz may find what we do appetizing, because the guys in the band are fantastic. They're really the cream of the crop. They're the best around, and you'll hear something delightful, I believe. But for those who may be just introducing themselves to jazz, or have had friends say, "Oh, I don't know about that jazz, too many notes, and I don't get it." These are, may I say, offerings that are accessible and delicious. I do believe that's what we're aiming for, and there's that, and then I come on, and like I say, there's a lot of improvisation and uncharted territory, and I really, just because I like it, am interested in who comes to see us, and I may wander out before we even start, and converse a little bit, and play games. I kind of like that. So
the trivia games, right?
I do. I like to play games, so it may go something like that,
Now, does the band know where you're headed when you're starting your trivia and stories, and they just are along for the ride?
They're along for the ride, and oftentimes they, sometimes chime in with musical references. They pipe up or can allude to something musically, and we play games amongst ourselves. It's we have fun too. But I'm crazy about these the people in the band. They're great, and we may have some surprise singers or a singer join us. So
you can't give anything away on that.
Anything? What? Give anything away?
You can't give that away.
I don't think so. I think it should remain a surprise. But we get people who are just great.
Do you recall the last time you were in the Winspear Opera House? The special circumstances that surrounded you playing in the Winspear Opera House?
Wait a minute. This is a good cognitive test. I'm glad.
Trivia about yourself. Yeah.
That's good. my least, I might let that go on Jeopardy, till the end. because sometimes those
Well,
things fade away. But let me see. Give me a clue. Give me a clue.
well, I think so. You were booked originally for Strauss Square, our outdoor venue, which is right next to the Winspear Opera House. And as I recall, there was a weather issue, and you were moved inside at the last second.
Oh, yes, I do. It's all coming back to me now. That's right. There was what was it, rainy or something like
Yeah,
that?
it was rainy, and and then at the last second they said, "Well, the Winspear's open. Let's all move everybody in there," which took a while, and
Oh.
it delayed the start of the show. And you delighted every single staff member and person in the audience by just taking a microphone and being like, "You know what? We're going to start the show." Before we start the show, and you walked around in the audience and took pictures and interviewed people, basically.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah.
good. Who knows what the
Who
weather will
knows?
have in store
Maybe
for
the
us,
show will
or
start late this time too, and we can get the pleasure of that. So, just speaking of improvisation, your willingness to dive in is commendable.
thank you
Uh,
very much. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I may, even if weather is pleasant, I may mosey out early and just
nice.
check out who's there and have a tete-a-tete.
Yeah, that makes it special. So you've been playing music, jazz music for years and years and years. When did you start playing music, and when did you decide, you know what, I'm going to put together these A+ band members and take the show on the road?
It all happened kind of organically, as they say, without being too highfalutin. My parents gave us all lessons, the four kids in Pittsburgh growing up, and even though I was a bad student, I was not so disciplined, and would, fret about the teacher coming once a week because I hadn't practiced. When he
Sure.
gave me jazz arrangements, that's when I really started to
Okay.
sit and play and go, hey, I just want to do whatever it takes to learn how to do that because I really love it.
Uh-huh.
And around 10 years old or whatever, I'd gotten the bug and made a decision about acting as a career, but still kept this music just as a passion going alongside that, and even got a couple of jazz gigs in Pittsburgh when I was 15 in
Oh,
cocktail
wow.
lounges before I left, and then went to New York when I was 17, just about to turn 18, started to study acting with Sanford Meisner.
Mhm.
But I kept a piano in my apartment, and then I fell into, by a sheer fluke, a production of Two Gentlemen of Rona, a musical version written by Galt McDermott, the music who had done Hair, and it was the biggest hit that the Shakespeare Festival had ever had. And
Yeah.
I wound up going to Broadway with that as a chorus member and understudying one of the bigger parts. But in the pit were some real, as I'll bet
Yeah.
jazz musicians. I had seen Thad Jones, for instance, in Atlantic City when we went on vacation. My dad was a jazz fan, and he was in the pit for a little bit. And
Oh, wow.
Bernard Purdy, who was a great drummer, and there was a piano down in the basement, of course. And I'd be playing. I was there for a year, and then and then I started to work in movies and this and that, and I snuck it into characters in the movies like The Fly.
Right.
Now, this is 86. My character, not as per the script, but between me and David Cronenberg worked it out so I could play a little bit in that, and Earth Girls Are Easy, and a couple of things like that. And then about 30 years ago, Peter Weller and I, who had done that movie, Buckaroo Banzai,
Yep.
because he plays horn and loves jazz, started to get together at each other's houses.
Yeah.
And as the legend has it, he was palsy with Miles Davis, believe it or not,
Yeah.
who said, "Oh yeah, I know you and Jeff. Yeah, you guys should have a gig. You should go out and about instead of just, staying
Yeah.
in your living rooms and start to play. You'll get better and it'll be fun." And I'll be darned if that's what we started to
Uh-huh.
do. He has since gone out and done many wonderful things, but I kept up this band, and the group kind of kept changing. Now this core group is better than it's ever been. We have our fourth album out on Decca
Right.
and Verve, but that's how it started, and it just kind of kept moving from there. That was about 30 years ago, and then several years ago, Tom Lewis from Decca, great guy and great label, saw me play with Gregory Porter, great jazz singer,
Okay.
on the Graham Norton show when I was promoting Thor Ragnarok. And
Yeah.
he was promoting his Nat King Cole record, and he sang Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa, men have named you. And he said, Jeff, can you play with me? It's just me and a piano player. So I did. Backstage, I went through it, and then we did it. And that's
Oh,
when
wow.
Tom Lewis saw it and said, hey, maybe I should talk to me about a record. And this is our fourth one.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
getting better than ever. We love recording and like this. Yeah.
Yeah, and having special guests, that helps too.
Well, this last one, well,
Makes it a lot
we've
of
sung
fun.
with, Kelly Clarkson, she's
Yep.
sung with us, and Fiona Apple, and Gregory Porter recorded with us, and Miley Cyrus, and Haley Reinhardt, great people. But on this one, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo and Scarlett
Wow.
Johansson, my Sykes, that just happened kind of unplanned too, because I was on the set of Wicked,
Uh-huh.
and I was just singing as I'm wont to do, every song I could think of, and they knew everything, and
Right.
and we were singing, and I started to sing one day, I don't know why I love you like I do, I don't know why I just do, and Ariana said, hey, why are you singing that?
Uh-huh.
I said, I like that song. She said, well, my grandfather sang that to me all the time. I said, wow. Well, if you'd ever want to, I have this band, if you ever want to record with us, et cetera, et cetera. She did. Then we asked Cynthia to do something, and it just went like that. And Scarlett Johansson, I'd done a movie with a couple of them, Wes Anderson movies, and we'd crossed
Yeah.
paths, and we got to talking, and she said, well, I want to record too. And so like that,
Yeah.
that's how it works. And now I'm more excited than ever. We're kind of cooking things up for the next installment, and it's
Okay.
going swimmingly. It's really fun.
Very good. Now, as I was preparing for this, I was thinking, I came up with a theory. Let me know if I'm onto anything here. So jazz, it thrives on spontaneity and surprise, willingness to play an unexpected note. And as I think about you, of all the things I've seen you in as an actor, that seems to be kind of what you're doing with each role, or even each line reading, is playing notes that I just wasn't expecting to hear, and it turns out delightful and charming. And so, is there something there? Do you approach the two art forms similarly, consciously, or is it just kind of how it comes across?
You are nice with all your kind words. Thank you very much.
Well, I was
That's an
buttering you up.
interest. Well, thank you. The That's an interesting question. I could
Go on
bore
and
you
on.
for hours on
Yeah.
it, because I'm a technique fiend
Uh-huh.
of one kind or another. And yes, there is overlapping interest in both those disciplines. Sanford Meisner, with whom I studied one of his basic stones in the foundation was an improvisational exercise. So I was trained in that. And yes, jazz, of course, as we know, demands improvisation around a form or not a form, and so they overlap. And yes, and in music, you have to be present and listen to what the other musicians are doing in order to come up with something inventive and spontaneous and truly alive, in conversation with that. Likewise, in acting, even when the lines are scripted. So I've done a bunch of different acting. I even taught acting for a couple of decades whenever I wasn't working, and you have to be able, if the situation requires it, to do exactly the words that David
Mhm.
Mamet or William Shakespeare or somebody wrote, but make it seem as though you're making it up. And I like to do that. And there are ways that this overlapping technique can impact that. And when it's allowed and wanted, you can say things that you want, and I like that too.
With it. Yeah.
So it's all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So one of my great regrets is not seeing you in The Pillow Man on stage in New York. I love that play. And I just hated that I missed it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I do love that play too. Martin McDonagh is
Yes.
fantastic, and he was there for every day of rehearsal. And John Crowley directed it, and the two of them would work together. That was really fun to do. That's another situation where we said exactly what was in the play,
Mhm.
and even I like to hear Martin McDonagh would say, "Here, this line. This is how I'm thinking about this. This is how I hear this, and this is why, and this is why." I wanted all that information because I felt that I trust that I can make it my own,
Yeah.
even with all that information. And so that was delightful. Yeah, and the other people in that particular production production. Željko Ivanek and Michael Stuhlbarg and Billy Crudup were just terrific.
Yeah. Okay, so one final before you leave me, one personal question. What is a perfect day for Jeff Goldblum?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I think off the top of my head, I could come up with a lot of, my favorite breakfast and all of that stuff. But I think I aspire to the philosophy of want what you get.
Okay.
Instead of trying to figure out what you want most of all and then getting it and then, well, there I got it. I think you have to honor and be and accept and be in cahoots with nature and the chaotic and unpredictable cards that are dealt you, and then use your talent to go, this is perfect. This is perfect. Exactly what happened. It started to rain. Here I am in Dallas. It started to rain, but it isn't what I would have ordered.
Sure.
But if I navigate it, if I surf it correctly with the talent such as it is and that I possess, it might just turn out to be so-called perfect. Likewise with everything else. Now, that's the highfalutin answer. Having said that, I'm crazy about my kids and my wife. And, a great day is a great day with them. A day would also include music, of course. And, I like my acting life, which is still, seems to be burgeoning and more fertile than ever. So, I like, I like being, and any day that is above ground and on planet Earth, which is a kind of a cosmic paradise. If our wits, if we're, it feels to me like I must be grateful and cherish and appreciate every lucky moment because it is we won the lottery somehow, all of us, one way or another, whether it's in challenging circumstances or not.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I'm a big fan. It was such a pleasure to talk to you. You've been lovely. Folks, one more time, Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra in the Winspear Opera House, Saturday, September 13th. Tickets at attpac.org. Jeff, what a delight.
Matt, it's a delight for me. I'm so excited. Hey, everybody that's listening, come on out. I invite you personally, and I can't wait to see you. And come on, let's have some fun. I really am looking forward to it.
You never know what's going to happen, right?
That's correct.
All right. Well, thank you very much.